And this is EFM, the Resource Center for all conversations on entrepreneurship in action. My name is Yuan and welcome to COLLAB. And this time, again, we're collaborating with Open Connectivity Foundation, OCF, which is a standards organization that develops application layer IoT protocols based on a universally supported IP using strong open standards. OCF is published as an ISO IEC spec, and there is a comprehensive certification program in place. Today, we're specifically speaking to Oliver Newman, Vice Chair of the OCF Smart Commercial Building Workgroup, also the IoT Solutions Engineer at Pulse System. Hi, Oliver, how are you today?
Hey, Yuan, great to meet you.
So first, tell us a little bit about the Smart Commercial Buildings Workgroup and how that relates to OCF.
So the Smart Commercial Buildings Workgroup is primarily a strategy group. Our role is to guide the specifications, specifically in terms of IoT within a commercial setting. So we're looking at producing use cases that can then influence the standards themselves on the challenges and benefits of a secure, open IoT standard within a commercial building setting. It's driven by our member requirements. So more recently, we've been focused on smart lighting and the likes, because that's where our companies that are involved in the group are primarily working at the moment. Though we do have some very heavily technical people on the team as well. So we do some direct technical implementations of the standard as well as influencing and introducing new elements to the standard.
So the standard itself, how is that going to be used? Is it by a country that's adopting it as a policy, or is it by, the industry or a specific association, or they should be adopting it anyway because the standard is good? So how does it work?
All of the above. There are some quite significant works going out in Korea at the moment, in South Korea. They are starting to implement some stuff at a governmental level, and they're looking to use OCF as part of their standard strategy in smart buildings and smart cities going forward. Pulse Systems, as a company ourselves, are implementing a full smart lighting strategy at the moment, built upon a full smart lighting solution, built upon the OCF standard for industrial warehouses at the moment as well. So there's kind of all sorts of levels there. There's everyone from ourselves as a startup company to the Korean government, to the likes of companies like Cisco and COLLAB who join our calls and are involved in the implementation and influence of these strategies at a commercial level as well.
So what are some of these achievements that you are extremely proud of from the workgroup?
Yeah, absolutely. So since I joined as a vice chair, we have added new transport protocols to the system. So we have brought in MQTT as an alternative to the COAP protocol, with MQTT being the most popular IoT transport protocol in the world at the moment. Again, coming back to lighting, we have implemented a secure multicast implementation, which allows, and added it to the spec, which allows us to control multiple lights in one command. We have added the ability to encapsulate DALI commands, DALI being a standard set by the DIIA for smart lighting. We can now take their commands, encapsulate them, send them over a secure OCF network and deliver them to lights at source. And we have helped significantly in building out the cloud proxy implementation and adding that to the standard, which has been something that's been sat in OCF for a while, but with the impetus provided by the Smart Commercial Buildings Workgroup, that has really kind of pushed that forward. Our current work at the moment is largely focused on mass onboarding, which is a really big problem in a smart commercial building. Being able to commission all the lights in one go rather than having to go around and set up 4,000 individual lights, which is a problem we have encountered. And that is currently already been spec'd out a while ago, but has never been utilized or really stress tested. So that is something that we are pushing forward as a group and really helping to influence and make sure that it works properly.
So if you're in a commercial setting, or if you're in if you're specifically working like in commercial buildings, what is the good or the benefit of us looking at the standards that OCF has put together?
So the big one, or the big two, shall we say, for OCF is security. We are end-to-end secure. We implement the OSCORE security principles. Everything is locked down and very secure. But at the same time, you have that interoperability with the OCF and the Open Connectivity Foundation standard, as the name suggests, being open. If you implement, if your infrastructure uses the OCF standard, then any OCF device should be able to work within your ecosystem, meaning you are not locked in to one particular vendor or one particular set of devices, which is really, really nice. And on the kind of flip side of that, for a manufacturer, for the producer of these devices, it's an open standard. There is reference implementations. There are lots of tooling around this, meaning you have that kind of standardization, you have that ease of development. It's there and ready for you to use and get going with. On top of that, you have all the certification. As you already talked about in the introduction, there is a full certification suite there, which means that should you pass that, should you choose something that's OCF certified, you are guaranteed that it should all work. You have that security, you have that interoperability.
So if you're a developer, for example, you definitely need to pay attention to this because this is going to be the standard moving forward. And if you are a manufacturer, for example, or a designer, you should definitely also pay attention because this is what the commercial buildings will be asking for. And if you're a government or a local government or agencies from the government that are looking at smart city building, for example, all the more you must look at this simply because this is the standards moving forward. So security and interoperability is what you are exactly talking about. Are we going to be able to see some lowering of costs in years to come, or is that something that is not even talked about, or because you made it such a standard, for example, it's able to bring down the cost?
Yes, I think we'll see a variety of different approaches. One of the, as Ken said, that the kind of interoperability and standardization and openness of this nature should lead to a reduction in vendor lock-in. So you won't have to buy with one company and stay with one company. You'll be able to pick and choose what works for you, which in itself will lead to more competition amongst the manufacturers and the developers of this technology, which should lead to a more competitive market. A lot of the building management market has been fairly, it's been very biased towards the manufacturers and less so towards the facilities teams themselves. And this should allow the buildings users and the building developers themselves more control and more choice, and hopefully a more competitive marketplace to pick from. As well as that, I think we're probably looking at more of a subscription-based market. As I'm sure you're aware, everything seems to be moving towards subscription-based approaches. So I can see that happening quite strongly as well. So rather than one big outlying cost, it will be smaller subscription-based costs for access to cloud platforms and device maintenance and so on.
So when we compare the commercial IoT space and smart homes, for example, what are some of the unique challenges that there are?
Yeah, absolutely. I think we have touched on a few of these already. I think one of the big ones that we're currently working on is the mass onboarding. You come into your smart home and you've got 3 light bulbs, maybe you've got a smart fridge if you're lucky, you've got a couple of different little things, maybe your smart thermostat and so on. Whereas in a office building or in a warehouse, you have hundreds or thousands of lights that you need to connect up. You have anything else, if you have smart blinds, say, or if your HVAC system is set up to run intelligently, then all those things will connect into your ecosystem. And there's so much, the actual sheer quantity of devices that need connecting presents a massive challenge in itself. It can take weeks, take a team weeks to just install and onboard all those devices into a system. So making that simpler and easier and as painless as possible is a huge challenge. The other one, of course, is security. We've heard a lot over the last few years about how the problems with security within IoT in general, and the botnets that have been introduced, and the sheer damage that can be done with people having access to the system. It can be a attack vector into your main network. It can be, if they have access to your heating or your HVAC, they can control the environment of your office building or your warehouse or whatever your smart building is. If you're in a retail scenario and they have access to your lights, potentially, you're in trouble there. You can't have your shop open if you've got the lights on. There's so much kind of at risk there. The other thing with a lot of these buildings, particularly within the kind of building management world, is that a lot of the technology is really old. We're using technologies and protocols that are maybe 30, 40 years old at this point, and they're still in use. A lot of these companies have a 15-year lifespan that they want anything that they put in to last for. So any new technology going in there is going to have to integrate and coexist alongside these legacy solutions and work alongside them. Alongside that adaptation of the kind of nascent technology that's coming out and will be going into there. So that kind of combination of all that together presents a really unique challenge, which is where the fun is. But yes, there's quite a lot going on there.
Where the fun is. So the point is that if you are in this industry, you must, if you are a part of OCF, then where all this fun is, these conversations are where you are having this discussion and talking about solutions, talking about ways to overcome them, trying to come up with standards that could work not just for one market, but for markets across the world. How does one get involved with OCF, which I imagine all these conversations are happening all the time and robustly, and solutions are being figured out all the time?
Absolutely. So for those that just want to implement the OCF standard, there is a free adopter membership level. You can go to the website, you sign the charter, you join, and that you're absolutely fine. If you wish to get more involved, come and join in with the Smart Commercial Building. It does require a gold membership, which is the first tier of paid membership. Very reasonably priced, very easy to join. You join up, pay your membership, and then you can join in. We have weekly meetings, and then you have access to guidance on how to implement the standard. Again, details on the challenges that the members have already faced. Everyone is very open and willing to kind of share the issues that they've encountered, because a problem shared is a problem halved. We can all kind of help each other and solve these kind of very big, very serious challenges that the workplaces are facing.
So we are talking about companies joining. Are we also talking about, say, just one person or one professional from, let's say, a company like Pulse System, one person wanting to join? Is there also space for such a case?
So the general, as with the kind of a lot of the standard bodies, it is aimed at more companies. But as soon as a company is joined, anyone within that company who has company details can set themselves up. There are options for academics, and there's an educational membership level and so on as well. And again, members that are kind of more individual and would like to join and get an idea of what's going on, there is the free level adopter tier, which will let them get involved. And everything as well is priced based on the size of your company, the income of the company as well. So if you are a very small company that has, it's only just started out, there's a very affordable tier for you. And if you're a massive company, there's an opportunity there to contribute much more as to your capabilities and have much more influence and much more outreach there.
So I can understand why a big company will participate, because it's important for them to make sure that they are kept abreast of what's happening in the industry. But for a small startup or a small company to just come up, maybe you can give them more reasons to be a part of this conversation.
Absolutely. So, and if it's quite all right, I will talk about it from the perspective of Pulse Systems as a company that fits very much into that kind of category. We are, very much by the standards. I've mentioned Cisco and Cable Labs already. We are a drop in the ocean in comparison to them. But we have come in and we are providing, as I said, our lighting solution through OCF, and it provides that very disruptive, open technology. We have open data, we have open protocols, we offer the companies that we work with the ability to interact with existing systems as well as any new systems. And we say, look, if you buy our system, we're not locking you into us. You don't have to be scared. And the amount of times that that has got a company to go, well, we've been talking to that big company over there, but we like what you're saying. And we have had a lot of good deals and a lot of conversations and sales out of the fact that they don't feel like if they pick us, they're stuck with us. You know, they can go, you're good, we like what you're doing, and we'll stick with you because you're good. Rather than we bought you, we've got no choice now.
And we're stuck. Oh, that's not happening. Yeah. Okay, that's really good. Thank you very much, Oliver. I think this is quite clear. And they should check out OCF and also be involved in this conversation that is defining what IoT is going to be like, not just now, but also in the future. And you should be a part of that conversation if this is going to be your business in the coming years. Thank you very much, Oliver.
Thank you so much.